We are playing Nana. This is a very cute and funny hero, to be honest.
Welcome to Mobile Legends.
She's always
5 seconds till the enemy reaches the battlefield. Smash them.
underappreciated.
All troops deployed.
She is not seen as a hero that could be very useful in the ranks, but that is just not true. And I'm sure the higher level players would agree when I say that Nana is one of the heroes who are most annoying to play against, especially in the laning phase, because I'll explain to you in a bit. The number one thing that you can play with Nana is that she is a very good hero at zoning the enemy heroes. So what do I mean by zoning? Zoning is what you do when you want to control where your enemies go within the game, and that is made possible with Nana by her second skill. As you see, when you place Nana's second skill anywhere in the map, the enemy heroes are forced to respond to it by not moving towards the area where the second skill is, right? And that is what zoning is. And if they still decide to go towards where your second skill is positioned, you saw what happened with Lancelot. But that was a different case because we were getting much help from Franco and Harley. But the point is, anywhere you place your skill, you're pretty much in a safer position because the enemies are gonna think twice before they come towards you. And if they come towards you, you're gonna have enough time to respond because they are disabled for that duration of the second skill. We are lagging quite badly. Sorry about this. Now, another OP feature of Nana is, of course, her passive. You get, it's actually reinforcing the myth about cats. Cats have 9 lives. Well, in this case, Nana have at least 2 lives, because with her passive, every time she reaches 0 HP, she is essentially revived as a cat spirit, and that she receives a bonus of a massive movement speed with which she can run away and get into a safe position. And so when she returns to her original form, she can just reuse her skills or use it to move back to the fountain and recover. So, with all that, Nana is a very strong utility hero where she can be used to support your teammates very well with her skills. And she is a very good hero to bait out enemies like I'm doing right now, because even if I reach 0 HP just now, I will not die. And as I saw Harley was coming towards my side of the map, Yi Shin was focused on getting me, but he wouldn't have achieved anything even if I died, because I'll be living again. But at the same time, Harley will have enough time to get him, and that resulted in a kill for our team.
An ally has been slain.
So yeah, essentially with this hero you keep your lane safe. She's not a very aggressive hero in the sense that her skills, especially this second skill, would require your enemy to move towards you. So what you want to do with her is to keep your lane safe and wait for your teammates to come and support you, and then use your skills in conjunction with your teammates. Yeah, that was a mistake by me, but that's how you play Nana. Essentially, you just wait for your teammates to come to you, use your skills, and if the enemy tries to run, or if they're in a position where they cannot move, use your ultimate. I'll explain the ultimate when we get a team fight later. As for her first skill, it's just like any other mage skill. You get your skill out and damage enemy heroes, and the main purpose is still to just try and poke the enemy, because it doesn't deal the biggest damage, but it can still be very annoying when you can constantly hit your enemies with it. And it's got quite a good range too, so again, it's a good tool for zoning your enemies, meaning you can keep them at bay with your first skill, but still be able to reach them because it has such a long range. So that's the good part of the skills, right? So with this team fight, you just want to make sure you position your second skill in a position where the enemies might go towards, and then just move around and position your ultimate. That wasn't a very good example of using my ultimate, by the way, because what happens with Nana's ultimate is that it will be placing 3 circles that are overlapping with each other, and if you hit the enemy with 2 of those circles, they're gonna get stunned. So what you want to do is to place the ultimate and face it towards where the enemy is running next. If you rewind and saw the fight with Gusion, you'll see that I placed the ultimate in the direction opposite of where Gusion was going, and so I was only able to get 1 circle off on him, and so it wasn't gonna result in a stun. But because he was already very low and 4 of my teammates were with me, he was gonna die anyway. But in a case where we weren't with our teammates, he wouldn't be dead because he could just run away. So when you're in this stage of the game, the enemies are gonna try to come towards you. What you want to do is to stick with your teammates, because you can't really kill anyone solo unless they make a mistake with their positioning. And what you want to do is to make sure that you are covering the blind spots of the map. Like when we're focusing on the mid lane right now, we want to place this right here, because if enemies are gonna come from that way, they're gonna be CC'd, and so we can still have our focus on the mid lane and just keep our vision there and make sure we carefully look at where the enemies are coming from. Now if you put your second skill under their tower like that, it's gonna force them to position themselves a little further back, you know, and so they can't really defend their turrets, because if they try and come towards me, they're gonna get focused on by my teammates, right? And as you can see, because we position our ultimate well, the enemies were getting stunned in the back lines right here, while we can focus on Guinevere when Franco hooked her. And so when her passive cooldown is up, you can be a little bit more aggressive, but you always want to stick with your teammates, because in case you die for the first time and trigger your passive, you can run away and have your teammates cover you, while the enemies are gonna chase you to try and kill you for the second time to secure the kill for the board. But if you can bait them into chasing you and have your teammates cover you, that's gonna result in a kill for your team, like this. But in general, after you die for the first time and trigger your passive, you really want to just go back and recover your health.
Catch my dart. Mega kill. An ally has been slain.
You know, she's a really fun hero because not many people know how to deal with her zoning abilities, and that'll allow you to be a very annoying hero to play against. And at the same time, it is very rare that you can die successively after you trigger your passive, unless you're a really bad player. So if you're not if your passive is not available, you don't want to be too aggressive and stick with your teammates. But when your passive is on, what you want to be doing is baiting the enemies into getting into unfavorable positions for your next team fight.
Monster kill. You have slain an enemy. What a perfect shot. Godlike. Double kill.
Yeah, I mean that's how you play in a team fight. You want to stick behind your enemy, your friendly tanks and teammates. And as the case with all heroes that are useful because of their abilities, you want to be putting out a lot of your skills as often as possible and not die before you can cast your abilities. So staying alive is your #1 priority with these kinds of heroes, and dealing a lot of damage with your skills would be your priority with any hero that relies on their ability to be useful. So that's Nana. I wouldn't recommend to overly use her in the higher ranks because there's so many ways to counter this hero. She's not exactly a mobile hero, so anytime you face mobile heroes like Gusion, you are probably gonna have a hard time. Even just now in this game, when we fought Gusion at the one point in the middle lane, although he didn't get me fast enough after I triggered my passive, he was able to get me just by being within the area because he was mobile and his skills have quite some long range. And so that's the hard part of using this hero. You want to be focused on knowing how the enemies can reach you and making sure that you stay out of reach from them. So the way to do that is just to stay behind your teammates and stay alive as long as possible and cast your skills as much as possible. So thank you for watching. Hope that was useful. Until the next video, good luck and have fun.